Hello, gamers! Guess what this is? It's a good old-fashioned commentary and analysis for Sub 5 of Stranded Isle. Zar got one. It's common courtesy for me to do one if someone Sub 5s, and Zar has. I've done me and Armin, it's time for Zar. If you haven't seen the previous two, you probably won't get as much explained here as you would want, but the other two do a much better job of just explaining the game in general. I'm gonna assume in this particular video that you are aware of how the Stranded Isle speedrun route goes, so like the list and all that, but like there's a lot of intricacies you're not very aware of, and I'll just walk you through it. I'm gonna pretend you've run the game for a day at least. Okay, there you go. All right, let's go. So, first things first, passes on this seed. That's fine. It didn't look that good. I do want to go back on it though. It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't look fantastic because no matter where the ladder would be in this area, there's water around it, and you have to mine through stone to get to it. So in general, it just won't be a good zombie grinding spot. This though, I question why Zar pulled here. Not because it can't work out, because it did, but because like you don't see much here. You see a ton of land, you see trees and bushes, and you see two pieces of stone. But I can see why people would love to play this seed because it gives you automatically a ton of space for zombies. You can just take down a few bushes and you already have a big open space right here to just have as many zombies spawn as possible. And Lord knows what's outside of the screen, right? And there's stone here, which means there's a chance that there's ladder. So all of that combined, it makes it pretty good. I still think it would be better to guarantee that you have a good spawn with stone, because this could just be two pieces of stone and your run's dead. But I can see why you pull it. Um, just know that if you are not anywhere near the territory of a 452, that you don't really need to worry about pulling on seeds like this. Just spawn with a ladder and some like trees and bushes and you'll be fine. Because navigating a seed like this takes a bit more finesse, which Zar has, so it's perfectly fine to pull here. So yeah, gets 3 completely average drops there, and you only need 2, so yeah, it's perfectly fine. Very convenient, by the way. I want to point out that the zombie is down here where there's this like tree blocking it. If Zar had Giga Brain, I think aggroing this zombie and then continuing to mine out like through this area, that means the zombie cannot bother you. There is 0% chance that the zombie unaggroes and then proceeds to attack you later. Because you'll see here in just a second that this zombie will leave, and it could have gone to the table and completely killed Zar's run. But you can actually aggro the zombie. It's dumb, and it will only move towards you, and it will never escape. So just a bit of fun fact for you. If you get in a situation like this, consistency is aggroing the zombie and making it only do one thing, but whatever. There's even a second one here. So at around this point, right, where he's up here grabbing the stone, with bar management, there's a title, but it's hard to see, but it's like right about here. There's plenty of time in here for him to go down and just like chill here after the zombie finishes moving, because like it has a little bit to go. Get them both down here, right, and then just keep mining. Consistency, baby. But it doesn't do that, and you see this zombie wander off. It's probably about here at this point. Could have just walked onto the table, killed the run, which would suck terribly. So, you know, throwing that out there. If you want to do a run like this, I give you some tidbits. And there's also a zombie right here, but it's not a problem because it can't walk through the diagonal. And this, like, aggroing thing, you see how it's not moving anywhere. That's what could have happened down there. Of course, gets the 20. How many pieces was it? I think it was 7. That's not bad at all. I would even call that uh, maybe like slightly above average. Quick math. No, that's average because if you got 3 on all of them, it would be 21. So it's completely average. Not fast, not slow. I can't even tell by the time in the video. It's probably like 35 seconds or something. Maybe closer to like 33 or something that got the pick, which you can sub 30 it. So the start isn't special, but the zombies are definitely going to make up for it because you get, tons of Ichor and all that fantastic stuff. Gets all the tools, of course, fantastic. Keeps the zombie over there. That zombie, just keep mental note of it. Um, I'm sure Czar did. Um, just to kill it later when you're on your way to going to the ladder. Uh, 3 Ichor out of that. That's above average for sure. That wood. I can't really blame Czar for not going to pick it up. It does suck. It kind of like walked out though. I just know some people will be like, "Yo, you could have like gotten that though." Here's the thing. I think if you wanted to do that, what you would have to do is like walk down into water, which would make you go. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to right click. Which would make you go slower, and then you'd have to like mine this one with like your axe. Um, but you don't. It doesn't matter. That one piece of wood is not worth that critical thinking. You can just go kill that zombie and then get all this wood, which is it's much more likely that, for example, these pieces of wood don't go into the water. As a matter of fact, it's basically zero versus this like tree, which can have 2 of them go out there, and now you have 3 pieces of wood you won't collect. So just, I think it was probably the better decision to not go pick that up because it was out of reach. For the gamers who say, "Wow, missed it," L. There you go. Also, beautiful pathing. I know I watched Lily's analysis before this. I will not try to tread over what she has already talked about, but I do want to say it. Beautiful pathing. Like, got everything right. She went into detail specifically about this part, which, TLDR, going down then up here, the bar will not fill by the time he gets to this and gets an extra piece of wood out of it. Terrific. But, you know, I won't go any further. Gets even more this is like a lot of zombies. And is really good. And this kind of sucked though. I can't blame Czar because if you're in a situation where you're walking around and you don't pick up any wood, going for like that wood when you're so close to the max amount of wood of like 65 that you need, it's not worth it because you may chop that one and get max, but then you'll see later, since he had it in mind, he can't kill that zombie. So it was probably best he didn't pick any of that up. But it's a shame he mined it in the first place and left it, you know? That was just a bad tree, but one singular bad tree in the entirety of getting wood is fine. I also want to point out, though, bar management, because I am a nerd. Right here, bar's full. I probably would have in this situation because I am just a slave to the bar, gotten out my pick and mined these 4 pieces of stone, and then got out my axe, get the final tree, and then kill the zombie. But no human being is going to do that unless they are programmed to play this video game, which I am. So I don't blame Czar for that. But it does just flat out lose about, what, half a second? Well, that's closer to a second, but it's fine. Obviously made it with plenty of room to spare. But, you know, just little things to point out. Oh, well, I guess I should bring up EBM. Just don't leave that bar full, because then you waste energy that could have been regenerated later. That's it. That's that. I'm just gonna give that simple of a definition. Czar, by the way, mining out most of that stone, going up to pick it, like the floating one up over here, right? Didn't reach max, so he emptied on this like piece of stone. Most of the hits were done to it, which meant he had enough room to pick it up and go back, and then could just mine another one, and then be perfectly fine. Beautiful. Absolutely stellar. That is like peak bar management if there was a peak to bar management and it wasn't just called playing the game. Emptying things, like putting hits into like an ore and then leaving to do other stuff and coming back to it. And like especially for drops and stuff. That is like probably one of the hardest things to internalize. But Czar, of course, does because he's a god gamer. Also, gets all the stone up here. Lily has already pointed out it's a risky, bisky move. I do want to like say what the ups are though. Clears more space at the top for when zombies will come down later. If you just go down ladder, right, and then you come back up, there's still a ton of stone around. And navigating this upper area is harder. If you don't get rid of this wall here, then it's going to be harder to go to the right, which is where all the zombies are, and you'll lose time moving to get that. And you can recoup by like shoveling the ground in this area, like up over through here. Um, but that means that you have a limited amount of time to do that before you've shoveled all your stuff. And shoveling like that is generally just slower, and you mess up more. So making this place emptier is definitely a plus, but definitely understandable why it would be riskier because of the cave. But cave's perfectly fine, and the cave usually gives you an escape that isn't stone, and if it is stone, you only lose maybe like half a second. So it's fine. Like if there's a layer of stone here or something that you had to mine through to get to this ore, it's not that bad. And maybe getting an extra zombie out of your top layer is probably worth it, honestly, and could make all the difference in a speedrun. But anyway, here we are in good old-fashioned Jamor mining territory where you sit there and you hold the button. Only two, so I bet getting all all 10 was stressful for the next two. Likes to mine the iron ore I see. I notice and I appreciate it. Mine some iron ore in the midst of doing Jamor, which is poggers, because your bar won't be entirely full for the next Jamor. Kill zombie, fair enough. So you might as well get some iron knocked out. That was like a max drop zombie, by the way. That's kind of nuts. And yeah, I assume at this point, just knocking out the rest of the iron, and then going to do the final Jamor, because that's usually how things go. You want to square things away and all that, you know. Get all the iron done, because it's there and you haven't finished it. You might as well. Makes things easier to remember. Now, gets 4 here. Yep, easy 4. Even before collecting the last one, let's go. I do notice the slower movement there. So there's maybe like 1 point in this sand mining where Zar loses movement speed, but it's fine. Like, it's once, which is pretty good considering that it's an SI run, and a lot of the time your brain shut off, and you're just kind of like pressing the buttons and hoping things work out. There's a zombie right here. I think at this point, obviously Zar's going to kill it. Use shoveling to sort of like draw lines to see where other stuff is. I don't really know if Zar does that. Oh, sure does. This is a closed off area. I don't think Zar's worrying about going up though, because the surface is good enough. Bar management. I'm going to call it out because I'm a nerd. Yeah, notice how the bar's full right there? It was full for a little bit. Not enough to matter, but I still love pointing it out because, again, I'm a nerd and nobody else wants to. So now we get to zombie stuff. The one spot, which was pretty hard to get to, has a zombie in it, which is quite unfortunate. I personally think that Zar should have gone right first, and then preparing to ladder again, go left, because this zombie could have wandered out and would have made it easier to get, and would have wasted less bar. But frankly, it's fine, because you want to guarantee your drops and all that, and whatever. You may be seeing that and thinking, why did he go out of his way to pick that one up, right? Like, he was over here. He's already about halfway there. The bar's not looking too good. Well, that zombie's far away, and say it drops 2 Ichor that are kind of far apart. You're going to lose this bad boy, so you're going to have to go back and get it. You know, you're just going to have to. It's a time loss they just have to accept. Goes in the cave to grind zombies. I respect it. I usually don't do this, because it's maybe like 1 or 2 zombies you get out of it. But then again, I'll just pause real quick. This like open area immediately around the ladder, I guess, up here is not that big. So using the cave as well, definitely respectable. And getting 3 zombies out of the cave was very nice. So I think it worked out well. Generally you don't kill zombies in cave, but you know, that's just how Zar rolls. I see 3 zombies that are around here. 4 zombies. Kinda nuts. So, 26, yeah. Look at that pace, dude. Could have gotten a ridiculous time. I think maybe it was like 5 seconds. Yeah, we'll estimate like 5 seconds when Zar started, right? probably could have gotten world record had Czar just gotten that final Ichor. Maybe the zombie that didn't drop anything dropped one. If Czar minued in 15 seconds, which is average, would have gotten a world record, which is insane. And kind of ridiculous. And I'm scared now because I probably need to grind. But anyway, interesting that Czar went through that path. I don't know. I usually find myself trying to peruse the coast because it's closest, you know. But I can respect it. Like for example, maybe going down this route, which I wouldn't have found this zombie that well anyway by doing that. But yeah, just going through the coast. It looked like that would have been the quickest route to get to this zombie, and that there probably weren't any zombies on the coast. So Czar did the smarter decision, and I'm dumb, and it's okay. Doing some menuing here. I noticed the mashing's not that fast, but it's fine. It's definitely serviceable. Just has a few things to do. That was slower, but it's okay. Little bit of a fumble, it's fine. You punch the tree and all that, it's gonna work out. And there you go. This zombie was posing zero threat after Czar began moving, because zombies don't move faster than you. So Czar had no problems from here on out. Definitely right here, there's maybe a bit of concern if you don't know too much about this game, but like, freaking, this will pause whenever you place this and you open it, right? So the zombie might attack you once, but you have a lot of time to think about escaping that zombie, so it's no problem at all. And there you go. So if I had to offer anything in terms of advice, I have zero. Czar has mastered everything. I think Czar has reached the point where I agree, or at least can see every single decision he makes and why. I don't disagree with anything outright. There are a couple things that I would have done different, but then again, I'm not the one who sub-5'd just a day ago. I'm at this point pretty much a geriatric for speedrunning. I'm old, and Czar's not. So whatever I say is right. You could throw it up in the air. I did also notice a few smaller things I want to point out. For those of you who are extra nerd, what Czar decided to do here was pick up tables before doing any of the tool stuff. Honestly, consider me absolutely crazy, but this is a run where you could have gotten away with leaving the benches until after you've gotten out your axe and your sword. You could have just left them, gotten out your axe, gotten a bunch of wood, killed some zombies in the process, and then picked up the benches and then gone for the shovel in the cave. I know, I'm absolutely crazy, but if you're worried about managing this menu, you could have done that, but there's no reason to. That's unnecessary. So I don't think Czar should have done that. I think everything that Czar did in this run was sensible. And it's crazy seeing that happen, especially freaking second place, dude, at pace to beat me with a single Ichor. Even with just average menuing, could have gotten a 4-3x this run. Nuts, absolutely nuts. And I can't say that Czar getting a 452 instead of a 439 was his fault. It was that piece of Ichor at the end that wasn't given to him. It was having to walk so far to get that last piece of Ichor that cost him. Nothing else. You know? Maybe he lost 2 seconds over the course of this due to his gameplay, and that's it, which is better than I've managed to do for 90, probably 97% of my runs. And I would think that for my 443 even, maybe my 456, I lost more seconds than Czar did in this run due to execution and not luck. Which is ridiculous to think about. It's crazy. I think Czar, honestly, is better at this game than I was at my peak. Of being able to execute. Probably better than Ahriman 2, honestly, at the point where he got sub 5, but I would be willing to accept a no for that, and people counterpoint and say that Ahriman's actually better. I think that's sensible to make, but for sure better than me when I was sub 5ing. Just kind of crazy, you know? I don't really have that much closing stuff to say. I think it's really cool seeing Czar rise up like this. And this was a very well done run, and I could say that 1,000 times and never get tired of it. Czar should be very proud of this run. Um, and I would be willing to call this perhaps the best executed sub 5 that this game has seen. I would go that far. Because even for my runs, even for Armin's runs, you can spot obvious mistakes. For Czar, I would have to pause and be a nerd and say bar management, which maybe lost like a second, and that in menuing was not the best. You know, maybe hit a tree and all that, but that was like one punch. Over the course of the run, maybe lost 2 seconds when you expect the average of maybe 15, 14 and a half seconds for menuing. And for a run like this, being able to, calm down and menu like that, Czar said that, like, freaking he didn't know he was on this pace until after the run, which is really funny. So just not being aware of the time helped him out quite a lot. Um, and I guess that kind of helped calm his nerves. I know that was probably the biggest thing that Czar had to overcome was the in menuing. Always would mess up something whenever getting close. Um, and he did it. Finally managed to overcome that. So the fact that he only hit the tree with like one punch and maybe didn't mash that fast, I don't care when looking at that. What I see is someone who before like who before could not even menu that fast at all become the second place runner in this game and be able to stay calm during this run. So, with that being said, thank you for watching this. And if you had any further questions about this run, because I don't think I explained as much and just kind of more generally talked about my feelings, but if you want a certain thing answered, like why did Czar do so and so at like this timestamp, I'd be happy to say it and explain it in like the comments. But as for what I want to talk about, I hit every note. So thank you. And GG, Czar. Please don't beat me. You definitely can. I've seen it. Please don't.